Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. This is part 5 of 100 of my favorite little Goblincore things. As you can see, we are making great progress. I have been loving this little project of mine. I'm not drawing it out for any particular reason. I am happy to have the content, but I also just want to slow roll getting back into things because I just have not been feeling it. There is a lot of mess going on in the world, and I am just trying to keep finding that creativity, even though right now it has been a struggle. But anyway, we are moving right along, and today we are going to talk about all of my cute little things on this little row here, and a few things coming up in the next couple of rows. We're just going to get our doodles drawn out. I do love me some line work, as I've said before. And I'm really excited about painting these because a couple of them have some fun little stories that I can't wait to share with you all. But we're going to start with the acorn. I just think they're like obviously they're a seed. It's nature, you know, you can't really go wrong with it, but the visuals for fall, acorns are just synonymous with that, you know, time of year, and it is my favorite. I just love seeing them in decor, but also finding them, and unfortunately, you don't come across them here in Japan, so I miss them a lot. Things you do see in Japan, though, are cute little green snakes. We've come across mostly just lizards and stuff, but you've seen, you know, a few snakes cross the road here and there, and although none of those have been green, I do know that they have little green snakes here, and they also have them back home. And I found one once on the Tweetsy Trail, for those of you who are familiar, and he looked really disappointed when I picked him up, but very cute, probably the size of like a ringneck snake. If those of you are familiar with them, please write that in the comments. I haven't seen a little ringneck snake in years, like since elementary school. We used to find them underneath boards and things when we were looking for snails and roly-polies and whatnot. Of course, I had to paint a rainbow. Who doesn't love a rainbow? Honestly, like, if you don't love a rainbow, I need to know. Why don't you? Why do you hate happiness? They're so beautiful. Obviously, that typically means that there has been some weather recently, and I love rain, and I just think you can't help but smile when you see one. So, of course, that would have to make the list. Plus, they're just a lot of fun to paint. I love mixing the colors for them and kind of letting them, you know, meld into each other. I just find it very soothing and beautiful. I tried to get as close to indigo as I kind of could, but really, you know, it's blue. Gotta paint some little clouds around there just to kind of give it some atmosphere around it. I try not to do too much of that in these pieces because I wanted the objects to really stand out, but occasionally you have to give it some background. This is lavender. I absolutely love lavender. It's one of my favorite smells. It's one of my favorite. I love putting it in like lemon cookies, or a lavender matcha is heavenly. A lavender in any kind of tea actually is incredible. You can put it in your bath. You can light it as a candle. Lavender is phenomenal. It's one of my favorite smells of all time. And I really love all of the different purples and blues and things that you can paint with them to kind of give them all of that just diverse, interesting painting. If you look up watercolors of lavender, they're so beautiful, and I don't really do them justice, especially in my kind of style, I guess, since I have the line work, but I really love those loose, flowy lavender pieces. I think they're gorgeous. So we're actually going to skip over the 20-sided dice, and we're going to come back and do a couple of little pieces of shading and layering on the acorn. I wanted to do this because I have a couple things else that I would like to do to it later, and it just needs to dry pretty quickly. So we're gonna come back in with the darker shades. I'm also not really sure at this point while I'm painting what color I want the dice. My initial thought was to do green because I love green, but the snake was already green and the button above it was already green on the row above it. So we're gonna come back to that once I've kind of fleshed out the rest of this and work on that. So the apple, I actually wanted the apple to also be green and be Granny Smith because that reminds me a lot of growing up. My dad loved Granny Smith apples. We also had a crabapple tree in my grandma's backyard, and it makes me think of those as well, but I needed some red. It's been a little hot minute since I had put some red in there, and I want to keep the colors just evenly spaced out and pretty. But an apple is my favorite fruit. It is the most versatile fruit. I think you literally can't go wrong. Apple cookies, apple pie, apple cupcakes, apple crumble, apple jacks, you know. And then the stamp we'll get back to in a little bit because I do have a story for that, but obviously this is a croissant. Bread is life. What more can I say? A croissant is probably the best form of bread, in my opinion. I will eventually one day make these from scratch, but my kitchen is not great for the lamination process right now, so maybe one day. All right, now this flower here, it is called a hepatica. It's in the buttercup family. I really wanted to do a buttercup, but I had a lot of yellow, and again, I like to try and space out my colors, so I decided to do a purple version. They come in whites and purples and pinks and stuff like that, but it's one of the first flowers to bloom back home. It's a little wildflower. Sometimes they're really easy to miss just because they're a little unassuming, especially when they're white or pink. But they usually bloom in like late winter, early spring. You can find them out on the Appalachian Trail. They usually come in like little clusters. They're really, really beautiful. Definitely give those a look up if you get a chance. And this is a Luna moth, my favorite moth of all time, for obvious reasons. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with it. It's got the most beautiful kind of blue-green, like seafoam green color, with really striking brown accents to it. These really beautiful, long, flowy tails. I don't really know what else you call them. I'm not that great at the anatomy of a moth, but maybe one day. They are my favorite, and I have seen a few in real life, so that's exciting, but also I absolutely had to paint one. They're a blast to paint, especially in watercolor. Alright, so now we're gonna go ahead and start doing our layers and things. I wanted to give this snake some texture. He felt really flat, besides some of the shading, so I wanted to do that. And then I did decide to go ahead and do the 20-sided dice like a yellowy orange color, kind of go with the moon, kind of go with a couple of the things up above it. I do come in and do some darker shading to give it some nice dimension, but the reason for the dice is I love board games. I love games in general, and we have played D&D with friends, and you know, we play things like Baldur's Gate, which is basically, you know, D&D, but I had to put a dice in there. Also, it's very Goblincore, you know, dice are very pretty and shiny, so you can't help but want to collect hundreds of them. Alright, and on to the stamp. I am sorry it's all the way up there in the corner. I do get around to fixing that, but anyway, so the stamp is a couple of things. I love stamps. I really like postage. I wish I was better at sending mail because I love getting mail, and I really wish, you know, we would just do more of that in general, because I think mail paraphernalia is fun. It's also, you know, stationery and all that kind of stuff. I like that kind of thing. But also the lemon on the stamp, this is actually a low-key version of a tattoo that I would really like to get one day, because you know, it kind of represents travel and stuff like that. But also my sister-in-law, who's basically my best friend, we just have like a little moment with technically a lime, just like a funny moment in our history that kind of is a callback to when my husband joined the military, and you know, things were just, we were very stressed out, and anyway, it's a personal thing, but shout out to her if she's here, because I know she is, because she's amazing. You might see her in the comments from time to time, so look out for that. Hopefully she doesn't mind that I've called her out. But anyway, that is row 5. We are halfway through the project. I am really excited to have it completed. I do want to eventually take some really great pictures and put some stuff up on Instagram. And I don't know, it feels very personal to me, so I'm not sure that anybody would be interested in a downloadable print or anything like that, but I'm considering it just to see if anybody's interested. It is all very Goblincore, and I feel like if you like, you know, 10 or 12 of these things, you probably like most of the other stuff too. But yeah, let me know in the comment section down below which is your favorite this week, and if you're excited about next week, if you see anything that you can't wait to be painted. I think the crow, personally, is going to be my favorite, but we will see. So see you guys next week. Bye, guys!